semester, and now as we get into the spring semester as well, and that is the content initiative, which is a campus-wide initiative, actually a university-wide initiative. So university campus as well as online and centers as well. So the goal of the university is to decrease the cost of course materials for our students. Our goal this year is to decrease the average cost of materials 30 to 35% by this fall. Sound aspirational? Guess what? We're almost there already. With different initiatives that we have in place, we've been working on for a while, including renegotiating some things with publishers, with faculty that are adopting ebooks as an example, or using open educational resources. We're getting really, really close to this. So one of the things that we talk about is using, I'm sure I've got this right here, using free and low-cost quality educational materials. Quality is very important to this committee. I'll share with you some of the folks that have been involved with this here in just a moment. I'll show you a list, but quality is a big part of this. Too often we talk about free resources and folks say, well, they're free, maybe they're not very good. Well, if they're not very good, we don't want to be using them, okay? So it's not just about free, it's about low cost and quality. If it's quality and free, that's a bonus for us. The working groups that we have going on right now include several things, everything from messaging and communication, looking at the technology available to our students and our faculty and centers, identifying faculty who are interested in, as part of the redevelopment of their course, using maybe more free or open educational resources. Want to point out that in the next couple of weeks, there is going to be communication received by all faculty about this initiative. There's a postcard going out to everybody. The postcard will likely go out in the mail. We're doing it the old-fashioned way as well as the electronic way. Likely go out in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So be looking for that. The other piece of information that's critical in this is not a mandate for every course. So as we talk about low-cost materials, we understand that there is a big continuum here in redevelopment. There are some courses that faculty have redeveloped, and there is a zero cost to students now for materials, zero cost. We also know, this is important, we know that there are some courses where the material as it is today is just not going to change. We get that. We understand that. There is a continuum, and what we're wanting to do is work with faculty across that entire continuum as they want to, okay? There's also a LibGuide that's been created. I've added the URL to the slide. If you're not familiar with library guides, you can search on the St. Leo Library website. They have a very nice link to LibGuides or library guides, and they have put together a library guide or a LibGuide for the content initiative. So you can simply search for content initiative. You can see who the contact folks are, their email addresses, all different aspects of what the committee has worked on up to this point. And the folks that have been most active on the committee so far, you'll see a list of names pop up on your screen here shortly. The leaders have been myself, along with Brent Short in the library, as well as Abby Luma, who is our senior content manager. And then we've had a variety of other folks. I've only listed on the screen the people that have been most active. There are other people that have provided expertise to the committee as well, but folks like Drew Gold, who has redeveloped a course, Holly Atkins, who has redeveloped a course, Chris Friend has been very instrumental. All of these folks, very, very important cogs, and they're all part of different working groups. So for us to get things done more quickly, rather than the entire group working on every little thing, we established different working groups, and then we split everybody up so that we can get more accomplished more quickly. If you're interested, please reach out to me. My email address at St. Leo is actually the name that my mother uses when she's upset with me, which is Steven.Reitschmidt. So there's an N on the end, Steven.Reitschmidt@stleo.edu. So you guys laugh, but every time I have an email addressed to me that says Steven, I think they're upset with me. So I do go by Steve. I answer to both. So that's content initiative. And again, if you're interested in more information, please reach out to me. The other thing that I want to talk with you today is around data. And we are really excited in innovation about being able to use data in a meaningful way to identify students who may be at risk very, very early in their experience at St. Leo or in their experience in courses. We know that if we don't identify students who are struggling within the first week of a semester, we're in trouble. And there are indicators that we are very aware of that allow us to be able to identify those students earlier. We are looking for a working group for a Civitas project. Civitas is a company that allows us to take a look at the data within our student information system, within our learning management system. They pull this data together for us, and then they allow us to make actionable decisions on this data. Data allows us to ask more questions. Usually a lot of other questions come up when we start looking at data, but it also allows us to start fine-tuning and providing dashboards and getting to the root causes of some issues and helping students. This group of folks will help to put together an operational plan as we implement the insights that we received from Civitas. We just started working with Civitas this week in a very meaningful way. While we've been talking with them for the last several months, just this week they began engaging with us as we start working on our technical setup and how do we get data to them in a private, secure fashion. So with this group, I will be looking for 8 to 12 members. Now, that's total members, and we need some subject matter experts in the area of student advising and student success. We need some people that are involved in technology. We also need some insight from faculty members, and I would love to identify at least one student to be a part of this as well. I think it would be a fantastic learning experience for a student here at St. Leo. So if you're interested in being a part of that work group as we get started, please reach out to me. So far, I've only had one other faculty member who's reached out to me around Civitas. The amount of time that it will take between now and June would be a total of maybe 6 hours, 5 or 6 total 1-hour meetings. So it will be spread out between the end of this month, beginning of next month, March through June, about 5 or 6 hours of your time if you're interested. You'll become very intimate with Civitas and what it is, how we're using data. You'll be able to provide input from your perspective about how we should use data, and I think it'd be a really interesting experience. With that, I will turn things over to the next initiative, to Dr. Border.
Thank you, Steve. So far, everything that you've heard, there are plenty of opportunities for people to hopefully see that they can get involved. I know that we've got a lot of folks online, but there certainly are dozens more people. I hope that you will encourage them to either look at this recording or talk to us or talk to your chair. I know that a lot of the chairs are going to take this back to their folks over the next couple of days. One of the initiatives that I'm very excited about actually ties into Lionshare. And as you all know, we just launched Lionshare. It's obviously a big deal. We want to tie into the stuff you don't see at first glance. And so we're riffing on a theme that Disney uses called the Hidden Mickey. If you've never seen a Hidden Mickey, that's an example of a Hidden Mickey. Over at Disney, they have baked this into the architecture. Everywhere you look, you will find these little silhouettes of the mouse. Yeah, that's right. Now, I, as a father of a 9-year-old, love these things because when I'm standing in that 75-minute line for 70 mine train, and my daughter finds one, it's 60 seconds of respite that we don't have to think about the 75 minutes we're in line. So I love these things as a father, but those are aesthetic. We're talking about hidden Leos, which we really think of as substantive. We want to start to honor and celebrate and get the word out for the things that are being done at St. Leo, and I mean at all of St. Leo, whether it's a one-off inside of an individual class, or if it's something done in collaboration between 2 or 3 instructors, or if it's something that is driving toward changing things at scale. We want to start to capture the hidden Leos. Now, in conjunction with something that Greg already spoke to, the board, we would love to have involved in helping us vet these, helping us determine if awards may be appropriate. We'd like to look at perhaps some incentives for people that are really doing solid, good work. We want to help people get these pieces of information into journals and articles and presentations at conferences. So we really want to start a Hidden Leos campaign. And again, the idea is that it's not about what you see at first glance. It's what you don't see. It's behind the scenes. It's kind of that magic. It's really helping students learn in a very unique and different way. And so the Hidden Leos campaign is brand new. We're just kicking it off. We're just getting started with it. We would love people to nominate themselves, nominate others. But again, at the board level, at the advisory board level, we're going to be sort of asking about how we operationalize all of this. So be looking for more about Hidden Leos, but also be thinking about how you are doing some things to provide sort of marketing around what you do in your classroom and what your program might do in its program or something like that as we go. And then last but not least, I want to talk about an initiative that I'm also very excited about. This also is in its infancy. We're just getting started with this concept. We're calling it Destination St. Leo. In the world today, there are, at least in the United States, I should say, it's probably a better way to start, there are approximately 3.8 million homeschool kids. If you see kind of the line of how this has progressed all the way up through 2011, it's gotten bigger and bigger. In fact, it's the fastest growing education population in the United States today. Most of these children are not targeted in terms of where they're going to go to college. Now, there are a few. There are some very, very conservative religious groups. And as you can see, the reasons people homeschool, religion is absolutely one of them. And there are some people that would go to a very conservative religious school after having homeschooled, but quite honestly, they would have gone there no matter where they went to school. Those colleges are going to get those students, period. For roughly 1 million or so students that are in a place to take a college class today, no one is really targeting them as a destination university. There really are no places saying, homeschoolers, we welcome you. We provide the kinds of learning that we think you will appreciate and like. So what does that mean? Well, if you look up here at why people homeschool in the first place, we think St. Leo makes great sense in terms of trying to connect with their parents and those students. Values matter to homeschoolers in a little different way than it does to other populations. We have a value-based university with a lot of things going on there with regard to value. At the same time, they are quite adept at modalities. They can learn online, they can learn face-to-face. They don't have a problem doing that. Well, we have a lot of online learning here. We've got a lot of face-to-face learning here. So, quite honestly, they could really find themselves in a place where they say, I want to get in a program that's online, or that's on ground, or that's at a center, or whatever. What we would really love to do is to see if we can't get a percentage of our population to be homeschoolers, which would allow them to have a social experience, being able to connect to people who grew up like they grew up, who can actually have a conversation about things that they would have conversations about as they grew up. As they're adjusting to college, they can all sort of do it together. We want them to see what that's like. And so what we're going to start doing and setting up is Destination St. Leo. And what that's going to look like at first is a conference. We would like to bring homeschool families here and provide them some resources and say, here are some things you could do as you homeschool. We'll bring in some speakers, probably some vendors and commercial groups. There's a magazine. There's all sorts of stuff that we'll try to tie to. But we would also like to say to them, when your child becomes college or university eligible, we would also like you to consider us for a place where you might send your students. About 5 or 6 years ago, I was at a chief academic officer. Did you all hear that? Yeah. Oh, it was just me, okay? All right.
You're not having a stroke, don't worry.
I'm hearing whistling, all right. 5 or 6 years ago, I was at a chief academic officers convention. There were about 150 CAOs in the room. And 3 out of 4 of them all agreed in a survey that was taken. They would actually rather have a homeschool kid than they would a public school kid come to college. That may sound a little weird, but there's a couple reasons for that. One is financial. Homeschoolers graduate at a rate of 66% in terms of that population. Public school kids graduate somewhere between 45 and 55%, depending on what research you're looking at. So they graduate a little bit better. They also typically come from a place where parents and they can pay for college. They're not taking out as many loans or getting as many grants. So there are some financial reasons, but as I've already mentioned, those students are all already experiencing the kind of learning that we're trying to promote here, which is much more active, engaged, simulative, immersive, those sorts of things. So we just think that this really makes a great deal of sense. The last thing I'll say about this, if you start to look at some of the small polls that are out there, there's not many, there's a few polls about why did you or did you not choose a college. When you look at homeschool families, one of the things that is unappealing to them about colleges is when a school is in the middle of an urban environment. They don't necessarily want it next to a bar or a strip club or anything that some universities find themselves near. We are not. So we, I think, again, are appealing. Yeah, we are appealing to this population, and we would love to see if we can't find some sort of bond and create a bit of a relationship. Yeah.
Would there be opportunities, I know sometimes students are able to do dual enrollment.
Mhm.
Would there be opportunities to get these students in early by doing some kind of online dual enrollment in their senior year so that they're starting to take classes online immediately, and then the logical transition would be...
Sure. So I don't know if you all heard it online. The question was around dual enrollment. Is that an option? Yes, we are actually going to start exploring that very thing. I had a conversation with our VP of Enrollment Marketing, and she would like to help make that happen if we can. There are all kinds of articulation agreements we're working on, and that would sort of become an articulation agreement for that population. So yes, that is something we're interested in exploring. Yeah.
So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about one of our initiatives, which is Whiteboard. And hopefully, if you haven't had a chance to use Whiteboard, you can definitely use it. So there's several different ways to get to it. You can get to it through Lionshare, and it's one of the options on the left called Whiteboard, or it's actually in your D2L shell, and so you can actually get to it that way. When we start looking at Whiteboard, what are some of the reasons why we would want to use Whiteboard in our class? And so these are just a few of the reasons, whole numerous amount of reasons why you would want to use it. One of the main reasons why I like to use it is it engages my class. I have 23 to 24, mostly freshmen in my class, and they're all engaged when I actually use this, and I start to get their feedback in Whiteboard. So it's not just 2 or 3 that are raising their hand giving me feedback. They're actually starting to get everybody involved. Another one was that it gives every student a voice, which is really big for that. But we're not going to do training on this one. If you're interested in training in Whiteboard, you can actually email me at greg.kunzweiler@St. Leo, and I'll definitely help set up whether it's an online session or a face-to-face session. I can go through that as well. But what we're actually looking for is a group of faculty members that are willing to really take on Whiteboard in their class and then be able to come back together at least once a month to share out what they've been doing in their class with Whiteboard, kind of a show and tell moment at least once a month that they'll be able to do with those other faculty members. And what we're really wanting to do is start to collect those ideas that people are doing in their class and be able to share them out with the rest of their class. So this isn't just for on-ground faculty. This is for center faculty, and it's for BTT faculty, ICC, and online faculty as well can use Whiteboard. And we're already starting to see faculty members in all of those modalities start to use Whiteboard as well. We also want to have faculty that are willing to test it and then give us feedback as to what they would like to see enhanced within the tool. One of the great things we've been working with the developers on the last couple of years has really enhanced what we want and what we've seen developed within the tool, like groups. It's integrated with the gradebook and D2L. There's other things like video and a chat feature that's in here that have come from feedback from other faculty members. And so what we want to do is start to collect that information from faculty and help drive the future development of Whiteboard as well. So what we're looking at is we're going to have meetings set up every other week, probably starting within the next month. And we're hoping that you'll come to at least one of those a month. So at least every other meeting you'll be able to come to be able to share out with what you're doing in your class. And so it's basically a 5-hour total commitment for Whiteboard. So if you have any questions, you can see me as well. The next initiative I have is the Innovation Advisory Board. And so with the Innovation Advisory Board, we're looking to get a group of faculty members along with our innovation team, and then possibly even some other students, to be involved in coming up with some ideas for teaching and learning innovation. So we've had things like the initiatives we're showing you now, our current initiative, but we're really looking to move forward with new ones and have ideas from you all as to what would really start to tap in to teaching and learning innovation. So we want future project ideas from a group in this Innovation Advisory Board. They'll also be able to receive current status reports on the innovation projects as well. We're looking to meet once a month, so it's a minimal commitment once a month. But obviously, if you're wanting to jump into any one of those initiatives, then the amount of time will end up taking up a little bit more depending on the initiative you just have to go into. So this is called the Innovation Advisory Board, and so we're looking for some faculty members that are interested in participating in that as well. Then my last one is called the Alternate Reality Learning Experience. And so last year and a half, you've probably heard about the presidency or the election that we've had on campus, or the trial of the century that we did. These are the two alternate reality learning experiences, or ARLEs, that we've done before in the past. And so why should you want to participate in it? We're going to be doing 2 to 3 this next school year, so fall and spring next year, and we're looking for some faculty members to jump in and participate with their classes in this. And so why should you participate? Well, this is a list that some of the faculty members that have done them already have actually come up with benefits for your students, benefits for your program, benefits for you, the faculty member, absolutely come right out of this particular ARLE. And it is somewhat time-consuming and changes up your course a little bit, but man, the engagement factor for your students, the learning that goes on with your students, is really huge within the ARLE. So you can talk to previous faculty members that have done it in the past, and they'll definitely tell you that as well. So what we're looking for is faculty members to participate in at least one of or more of these, and over the next couple weeks, we're going to line up our initial ARLE meetings to start to talk about the ideas we want. So one idea we have is the trial that we would like to do next year, but we want at least another option or two that we want to come from ideas from faculty members. So we want you all to be able to come up with an idea for our next ARLE and what that really looks like. So our meetings are usually every other week that we start to put these together, and this is really planning and writing out the storyline for the ARLE, writing out the narrative. Whenever you start to write out the narrative, you want to start to look at the outcomes and assessments that go along with your particular course and how they could tie in to the narrative or to the ARLE that we start to put together. But it definitely ends up enhancing your class, going from just your class to collaborating with multiple other classes as well. And so we're looking at doing at least one in the fall and one in the spring this time. So if you're interested in doing an ARLE, whether you're face-to-face on ground at St. Leo University, or if you're at a center, or if you're online, we're absolutely interested in you guys coming up with some of those, participating in those as well, and having your class participate in those. So if you have any questions, just see me out, Greg Kunzweiler at stleo.edu, or you can call me as well. And I look forward to hearing from you all. Thanks a lot.
What can you do with this? We just need some help for people who are interested in helping with this particular project. Actually, all the projects that you saw today is really what we're looking for. People to come in and say, hey, that interests me. I'd like to get involved in that. In some cases, you'll be able to attend things and see things before anybody else. Sometimes, these are great for service on promotion and tenure committees, those sorts of things. but we really would love to just sort of share the wealth here. We've got enough infrastructure going now that we feel like learning innovation is something that we can do at scale, but we need help. Because really, the Office of Learning Innovation is what you see in front of you, and we could use some assistance. So those are the initiatives that we are currently working on that we sort of have at least a 1-year plan for, if not longer.